My name is Daniel Westbrook, and I'm sitting down with longtime professional architect Catherine Pelz, owner of Catherine Pelz Architecture. Today, we're going to talk about how homeowners, contractors, and architects can work together to get the best value from a bathroom remodel.
Okay, so in the article that I wrote a while ago, why bathroom remodels cost more per square foot, and today we're talking about value per square foot. And so in your mind, what does value for the customer mean?
Well, we're talking about value for a bathroom remodel. And I think part of that is just having really good communication with contractor, architect, and the homeowner.
Well, in particular, bathroom remodels require a lot more attention to project management simply because things could slide sideways really fast. You just don't have that wiggle room. When you're doing a bigger remodel and there's a product delay or whatever, you have all this peripheral stuff you can still do. It doesn't really shut down the job. You know what I mean? Whereas in a bathroom remodel, the attention paid to pre-planning, like this is kind of what we're talking about, means that can make or break the job. One little thing can make or break the job.
One of the reasons I like to have contractors involved early has to do with unearthing what's in the walls of a bathroom. Because if somebody's going to change the locations of a tub and a toilet, for example, you want to know that you're not adding undue or unreasonable cost as far as they may need to change the sewer stack location.
Yeah, because of all those unknowns, you got to do a pre-inspection so you kind of know, and that ties into design, right? So
exactly.
One of the things that I do in the process, especially when you get me involved early, is I create, once we know what our budget is going to be, and once I get my bids from my subs and everything, is I create a calendar schedule, an actual, and you've seen those. Like I send them out to you and the client and all my subs, and everybody is CC'd into the update calendar. So what I do in the beginning is then it allows me to see the project from start to finish, and then when we start the job, then I know from that start date, this is how, and I call my subs and I make sure that there's the time. I ask them, how long do you need to do this portion of your job?
Right. So everyone knows what they're doing when
in a
job.
So everybody knows how everybody's integrated together. My drywaller knows exactly where he fits in and who's coming after him. So and my plumber knows who's going to be before and after him. So everybody knows where they fit with everybody else.
And what happens if there's a change from that?
Then it gets republished to everybody. And what I also do is I create dead days within the schedule in case I have to adjust things. Mm-hmm. Okay, so like my drywaller is going to be delayed 2 days, but I know that I'm ahead on my framing, and I know that after him, I've got 2 or 3 days, and so I can shift him one way or another.
A contractor's relationships with their own subs and an architect's relationship with drafters, structural engineers, it's really important because they are the people that are involved in the process that causes inefficiency sometimes.
Correct. Yeah.
And I try to sometimes, and as I'm sure you do, have 2 or 3 different subs or different people available to do a certain thing. I use 3 or 4 different structural engineers, for example, just in case one's too busy, or they can't do the tile on this particular job.
There's many pitfalls from the contractor side when you're actually diving into the remodel. It's actually hands-on work. Running across a problem, let's say in the work. Okay, let's say there's a joist in the way of where the toilet has to go. It's a mistake to go to the client and the architect and voice this problem. Like, oh my gosh, we have this problem. Oh no, what are we going to do? Your job as a project manager is not only to identify the problem, but to also bring several solutions to the table before you even contact your architect and your customer to get them involved in finding the solution.
Right.
Identify the problem, say, well, we can do this, we have this here, and if it takes providing photographs, if it takes providing a meeting the next day for everybody to get out and diagnose it, you make sure that you have all these different scenarios so that everybody that's involved can be a part of making that decision. If you don't do that, then you don't even know, or the customer, even more so, doesn't even know what choice needs to be made.
Exactly. And that's a really good point. The trap is not defining the problem.
Correct.
A lot of times things start moving so fast in construction that decisions get made and things get out of control and nobody knows the cost of what it's going to cost to make that decision.
There's a tendency to, as contractors, to want to plow ahead. You know, especially when we're working hands-on, we want to plow ahead and just keep moving. And
or it could be the homeowner that's influencing that. They've got a party that they want to have the finish date.
Or some kind of family event that says, hey, we got to be done by this date. And that adds a lot of pressure.
It does.
When I do, with my remodel projects, I don't give a date when we're going to be finished by. I think that's a big mistake. Yeah. Because you don't know from start to finish really how long it's going to take, because there are adjustments through that process. And if it takes a day to figure something out, that is less of an expense than if you just plowed through and didn't tell anybody, and now you have a big mistake at the finish stage, which means now you got to rip a bunch of stuff out to fix that when you could have just rectified it right then and there. That is costly, which is why I think it's really, really important to stay on point with efficiency. And any efficiencies that are sort of shooting holes in the bucket, and now you're leaking down and you're going, okay, well, we're losing it here. How do we keep those holes plugged? Well, the whole idea is not to have any of those holes in the first place. And I always use that as my guiding light, is how efficient can I make this job from a project management standpoint? Because there are going to be issues that crop up. It's just, if you're prepared, you can manage those issues immediately and right now, and then they don't become this really huge, expensive problems.
Right. One of the problems with remodeling is there are some unknowns. You start out with a situation where you really don't know what is in the walls yet, but you find that out and you unearth where the problems lie, and just being able to solve problems together can be the most efficient process.
There's no such thing as communicating too much. If you feel like that you're embarrassed because you feel like you're communicating too much or saying things over again, don't be. Because I would rather see a kind of a beginner project manager do that than be afraid and not communicate at all. In other words, even retract.
Right. Or if you don't know the answer to something, ask the question.
Sure.
Find out the answer.
Yeah.
Find out what the code is that allows that window to be a certain distance from the drain. Yeah. Because if you don't know it and you put the window in anyway and then have to move it, that is a very costly lack of communication. My thought is, in the end, it's all about just the value is in pre-planning, in the details ahead. And I think we hit all of those points. It was an awesome conversation. Thanks, Catherine.